everybody could see us. So, welcome to Finding Calm in Chaos. This podcast is where we explore powerful ways to bring more balance, clarity, and resilience into your life. I'm Coach Mallika, and today we are diving into a topic that every leader needs to master in today's time and world. Um, Especially with so much of uncertainty, even so much of change that is constantly happening. So it is mindful leadership. And it is my honor to invite the guest. Um, I'm so happy to be introducing him. He's Krishna. Krishna is a disciple of Master Shri since 1997, who is a direct disciple of Sri Anna Subramanian, grand disciple of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Also, you come from that lineage. That's wonderful. And also Sri Swami Purnanandanatha, grand disciple of Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganeshpuri. That's wonderful. His initiatives include Srimad Yoga and Foundation for Indic Wisdom. Krishna is a prolific writer on Indic knowledge systems and their applications in daily life. He's passionate about promoting Yoga Nidra and Antar Mauna, inner silence, as well as coaching and leadership based on IKS, yeah, which is Indic knowledge systems. He feels that it is one's duty to protect indigenous cow breeds, support Veda Patashalas and temple priests, contribute to reclaiming dilapidated temples. Krishna lives in the Srimad campus with his wife Smriti. Cows, Purna, and Padma. Calf Keshava are part of his extended family. That's so wonderful. Beautiful. Hi, Krishna. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Namaste to all of you.
Namaskaram. So,
Namaskar.
please do tell us. This is actually a conversation very close to my heart because every time we talk about mindfulness, they talk about the gentle side only, very slow, gentle, somebody who shaved their head and sitting in the corner. And sometimes people wonder, what can a monk tell you? What can a saint tell you or a yogi tell you about leadership? Because they generally renounce everything and go live by themselves. But I believe they probably are the right ones to actually talk to us about leadership, and especially in these times, how to lead. So please talk to us. What do you think, as per you, what is mindful leadership?
So it's wonderful that you chose a topic which is in the need of the time. Uh, Pre-pandemic, leadership used to be the domain of a few, but after pandemic, each and every citizen of the world has realized they need to take lead, at least to become healthy. So the definition has changed a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, we are a grihastha based society, meaning Rishi and Rishi Patni culture. The Rishi culture is the thing which has sustained our entire culture for thousands of years. So we say Sapta Rishis, then they have their Patnis. They in turn nurtured the children in the Gurukula. So we are a midway, proper mid. We are not the extremes of Brahmacharya, not this extremes of sannyasi. So, Grihasthas and the Vanaprasthas were the central theme. So, balance was extremely important. So,
Mm-hmm.
that is why our the mindfulness can be developed when there is less attachment. Suppose someone is naturally a monk, it is easy for them. But if someone living in the day-to-day life, having an organization to manage, a family to run, elders to take care, such people need mindfulness. This is exactly what we learned from Gita also.
Mm-hmm.
When Arjuna said, I don't want anything, I want peace of mind, I need to go to Rishikesh. Krishna said, no, your field of action is here and now, because the mind is anyway going to travel. This is why mindfulness or leadership or anything, if it is not integrated with day-to-day life, it is so good when we learn in an ashram or go for a leadership conference and program. Everything looks better. but the application is the day-to-day life, the householder life, the grihastha. So we are predominantly a rishi patni culture based life. So every day is like a mini battlefield only, right? Within and out. So in this, how can someone have that mindfulness is by sticking on to certain practices which are there with them despite what is happening in life. Like whether it
Mhm.
is a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that will keep changing. Your office, business, family things will keep changing. But what is the set of practice which you can have, which will not change 365 days? So our system focuses on that because you need something stable to develop mindfulness. No? Because everything
Mhm.
is changing. So this grounding of a particular set of practices, which is assembled with the help of one's teacher or coach, whatever we want to use that, that will help them to anchor and develop the ability to be a witness. Because in mindfulness, without witness, there is no mindfulness. No. So for
Yes.
witnessing, you need to be anchored to something which is constant and stable. So this is where I see in today's world of changes, every second things are changing. We all need to have some set of practices which are helping us to stay grounded and which will remain constant like our breath. Correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is the way I feel we need to take up any practice.
Yeah. Yeah. That grounding is important before we even come to balance, right? There's stability there. So that's wonderful. What does Indic wisdom talk about leadership?
Okay. The key differentiator or the key strength in Indic wisdom is dharma.
Mm.
This concept is missing in many frameworks across the globe. Dharma comes from the root word that means to support. So, the definition of dharma given by my teacher is that which supports, sustains, and enables proper functioning of any system. So, this is what a leader does. The leader has to support, sustain, and enable the system. The moment we use these words, first, micromanagement is out of the way and delegation is there. Because when you use the word enable, that means we start creating leadership around us. That is the first work. For that, the leader should be fearless and they should be anchored and grounded. For that, again, the leader should know what is my dharma. And dharma is not static, dharma is dynamic based on the situation and the people, what they are dealing with. So, what is the highest good which can come in any interaction is what a leader should be able to focus rather than what I can get as an individual.
Wonderful.
If they focus on themselves, then it becomes one manship or a dictatorship. So
Mm.
traditionally in Indic wisdom, leadership is a collective thing. Someone has handed over a responsibility. It is
Mhm.
not an authority. When someone excellently disburses their responsibility without asking, authority comes in. So it's not even hierarchical. So again, it is duty based. So coming back, a leader is someone who understands what he or she should do to first support themselves and the system around them.
Mhm.
So dharma-based approach to leadership is what Indic wisdom advocates.
And it sounds very wholesome too, right? Because leadership actually begins with yourself. That is self leadership first. And then, and when we are talking about self leadership, it also, once we understand who we are, what our values are, what we are standing for, that's where the intention comes in. Intention for ourselves and also for people in the team or in our environment. So, as per you, what are few virtues that makes a mindful leader, or a mindful leader must focus on cultivating?
Yeah. The mindful leader should always put the interests of the system ahead of personal interests. Because without a system or without their people, they are nothing. Like one of my ex bosses used to say, if that is the case, you went for a walk if nobody is following you. If you're a leader, people should be following you. If nobody is following you, it means you just went for a walk. So why
Yeah.
will people follow? Not because we talk, when we walk the talk. Tradition gives one more word which is called acharana. So first
Mm.
is dharma, very important for leadership. Second is acharana. Then the leader will be looked upon as an acharya, meaning he practices what he preaches. He walks the talk. English has such beautiful terms. And by
Mm.
seeing them, people follow. Because today neuroscience says more than the words, people take by images. That is why our worship of God and goddesses also, they not only give a sound which is a mantra or the name, they also give a form. So this acharana can be closely related. So people see how you talk, how you treat people, rather than what do you say. What do you say today? AI can also tell how to be a good leader. It can give us an essay, but how to be is an embodiment, right? So the second
Mm.
virtue any leader should develop is consciously acharana. Am I standing for what I am sharing with others? So people learn without words but by our action. So this is being very very mindful, because this way they not only support themselves but support everybody and groom them as well. And clones are not there. They're happy with diversity. Like a garden doesn't have flower of single variety, right? So the leader is one who is completely happy with diversity. That diversity could be culture, creed, religion, caste, orientation, doesn't matter. Human being matters. So this is the third aspect, is they're completely happy with diversity.
Mm.
So first is dharma. They should be very much grounded. As you use the right word, that grounding is important. For grounding, dharma helps. Then for people to follow acharana, that is we walk the talk. Third is taking everybody along.
Mm.
They only see a human being. They don't see any distinction.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. And at the same time, something tells me it's very hard to practice too, right? Because, like you said, that grounding, the inner knowing, knowing who you are, having a clear intention, and that intention is universal and not selfish. And then you're practicing it, and there's uncertain times. It's so dynamic, and especially in a diverse world, um, it gets even more difficult. At the end of the day, leaders are human too. So, what would you say, or what would you suggest the modern day leaders who are in the corporate world, especially, and managing so many people coming from diverse backgrounds, diverse mentality, and even diverse generations right now, when all of them come together, it is, in practicality, a very complicated task.
Yes.
So, how do we uncomplicate it? How do we simplify it? What do you think the modern day leaders need right now? They could do in they could practice to make their lives easy and become better leaders.
Yeah. Experience. So that everyone, not only the leader, the organization wide, everyone should understand. Here is where we can marry neuroscience with leadership, particularly when we deal with youngsters who are entering in the early 20s till the 30s. Now, neuroscience is very clear. The studies have proven that between the age of 25 to 30 is when the complete prefrontal cortex development happens. The impulsiveness reduces because life has taught that experience. When we go back to our the way the Indic wisdom says, they have divided the life into four stages. This is
Mhm.
why a prodigy, whether it is in any sports or in the business field, cannot sustain if they don't have a right mentor. So till the age of 30, even scientifically, lot of development is happening in the brain level. So the easiest way to decomplicate leadership is to find the right group of mentors for the people who are entering into the organization. Then the culture fit is easy, because people can
Mhm.
relate to people who are similar age group or similar background, and then you
Mhm.
bring them into the field of diversity. That is the
Mhm.
paradox with which we have to deal, because first we will align with people who have similar interests. Slowly we will understand diversity is important, but to begin with, maybe the leaders of today can utilize the services of other leaders and the mentors in the different age groups, and then groom the people who are coming in right from day one, instead of just focusing on what the employee can give to me or what my subordinate can give to me. The leader should ask, what can I give to them, so that they can buy in the vision and the organization is also aligned with it. So this mentoring becomes an extraordinary system which the leader should use to groom people other than them in the company, and they themselves in turn should be coached or mentored by someone. It is not that somebody is realized. No, a realized master is not going to be in the corporate the way thick of action, right? All of us are
Mhm.
work in progress. So when the leader demonstrates that they themselves are taking mentorship, they themselves are being coached, that sets an example to the entire company that yes, it is the norm in this complex world to be having an objectivity. There is a third party who is involved in helping us to be having objective views, so decision
Mhm.
making also becomes better. So this is the way I could see things happening.
Yeah. I'm part of an organization where we follow a mentorship very seriously, and that has helped a lot, especially the new joinees. Um, when they have a mentor, a buddy basically, and also the process, we have a 8 weeks mentorship process that actually helps them to integrate seamlessly into the system without any hiccups. And in this process, they also feel included, um, especially when you know that there are people coming from different cultures. It does get a little challenging. Fantastic.
Yes.
So now that's about how we treat others and how we take care of the teams in the workplace. What else do you think is required right now to maintain that, um, the grounding, to maintain that stability within? How do you practice dharma?
See, however great a painting is, you need to step back to see the complete picture. So that concept is called retreating. Because of internet and the digitally connected world, we are not withdrawing the way how much we should be withdrawing.
Mm,
Then we are not getting the right perspective. So every day, as a practicing leader or a person who is wanting to graduate to the leadership, should start practicing this retreating and withdrawal at periodic moments throughout the day.
mm,
Olden days, every 6 hours they used to do it.
mm,
So what happens is decluttering happens and you start getting a right perspective. And for this, nothing is required. You need to switch off from being constantly active.
mm.
And for that, again, you need to be fearless, because we tend to believe that without us, the world is not going to function. Without us, the organization is not going to function. Without us,
Actually, I'll tell you, yeah, probably we also believe that what if the organizations can function without me, and they come
ah,
to know that they can do without me. That
yes,
is actually a lot of
yeah.
people fear. Yeah.
So that without informing, we can practice that detachment, and then
Yes.
we'll get right perspective. Maybe it's a time to move. Why are we hanging on? We don't know. Maybe our job is done. So unless we retreat, somebody will permanently send us off. If you're a top leader, the board will send you off. You are no longer useful to us. So how we will get that perspective? You have to rest a while and run a mile. The olden day saying only. If you constantly run, it's a hustle culture, no? Without knowing we will age, without knowing that we lived, we will die. So
Mm,
that's not life. We are not supporting. When you do hustle, you are not supporting you, your family, and your organization. So periodic retreat will help the leaders to have right perspective.
mm. So beautifully said. I do believe in mindful moments throughout the day, where you could actually connect with yourself. Um, and that grounding also allows you to have a perspective. So you're detaching from that situation. But my most favorite practice is meditation in the morning, especially early in the morning. The first 1 hour when you wake up, if you could take care of yours, of that 1 hour, and do what nurtures your soul, your body, and your mind, it takes care of the rest of the 23 hours. And there have been times where if I don't spend that time, it does, the pressure builds up, and by evening, I could get very stressed because there's multiple things that keep happening. So what are your practices that you do that keeps you grounded?
Every day morning, we a group of us come together at 5:30. Half an hour we do 8 micro practices.
Hmm.
No discussion, no talk happens, no knowledge sharing. And it's enough of knowledge and information floating around. So this one way is like an oasis in the desert. And we know that Sunday or Monday doesn't matter. The days are changing, but the practice is the same. So we need to have those practices only, because what situations life or the organization, the market is going to throw at us is always dynamic, because we don't decide. So we start controlling the controllables and non-negotiables. So this is the easiest way we have found as a group, that yes, whatever life wants to show, throw up, we can show up and say what we can do. For that, we are better prepared. So we start the day with the retreat and we become comfortable with ourselves. And we say every day is different. And one day we may not be heard. One day we may be heard beyond what we intend to convey. So it's all okay. But have we done right? Like you started the session by using a powerful word, intention, no? When you started. So, what is my intention for the day and what is my intention in this role? Let us become more clear. And this stable practices will give the clarity over a period of time.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's all it is, isn't it? Just taking one day at a time and just mastering it one day at a time. And eventually we get there. Sometimes we think of the whole 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, or entire life, and that overwhelms us and that creates a lot of fear. And a lot of decisions are taken from that place of fear and from that place of anxiety. I know a lot of professionals, begin their day like that, and their stress only catapults and it adds up, and it adds up to the day, and days adds up to the week, and they have months and years of stress accumulated, and it is so hard for them to function at some point, and that's where the burnout happens too. So I'm curious about what are those micro practices that it is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely
Would you
okay.
like
It's
to
wide
come?
open.
Yes, I
Anybody
would
is
love.
free to join. The first practice we do is a 1 minute prayer, because yogically prayers give us infused prana, which is life force. And prayers say that we are not alone in this cosmos. It's not without reason. It is called the Brahmanda.
Mhm.
Correct. So we are an aspect of it. So we remind ourselves when we are thankful, we show gratitude to parents, the sources we are connected with. Post that, we immediately, for because we will be in a half sleep, half awake state in the before sunrise.
Mhm.
To get back to the cognition, everything better, we start with Brahmari Pranayama, Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. These two pranayamas are done in the morning, because Nadi Shodhana gives balance and it purifies certain even emotional blockages which are there in the subtle energy system. And Brahmari Pranayama invokes the gamma waves in the brain. Then cognition gets better and we become to concentrate well. After that, we do sound awareness and breath awareness put together 3 minutes. When we are
Mhm.
aware, when we develop that attitude of a witness, we are consciously helping our parasympathetic nervous system to trigger. So that will
Mhm.
help us whether to react or respond. Post that, each of them have their own sadhana. Some have with mantra, some have without mantra, and that is done for 9 minutes. After
Mhm.
that, palming and blinking, because through eyes we we see everything. Knowledge 60 to 70% is by absorption through the eyes. So the
Mhm.
palming, blinking, and these two eye exercises are done, and we conclude with a prayer for the entire loka, like loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. No point in we
Mhm.
living complete happiness and prosperity.
Mhm.
Surrounding us, everyone is struggling. So this 8 micro practices in 27 minutes is being done from January 22, 2024. It was happening from 2011. Then we streamlined it and said anybody can practice thanks to technology. Anybody can log in and practice. Like today, you have given an opportunity to all of us. We just need a
Mhm.
social media account and the will to join. That's it, no? So that is why we have opened this practice to everybody.
That's beautiful. That's a lot of good, that's a lot of seva that you're doing. And please do share the link to this practice in the comment section. Unfortunately, I can't post anything from here, but
Yeah.
it's important to be part of something like that. And these practices must be done daily for that because they have that compounding effect. We might think that one day, a lot of people who, when I work with them and I teach meditation, they say, I sat down today, but there a lot of thoughts. Am I not supposed to have that empty mind? Or I did not feel anything, that energy. So then I have to remind them that this is your first day and you'll get there, but you'll have to practice it. But while you explained it, I come from Guru Dattatreya Guru Parampara, right? So we have certain practices, and they are qigong practices. And like when you were mentioning that breath work, and then you have we also have our invocations, and we start with that. And there's a breath work, and we have physical activities, or physical exercises, and then there is meditation, and sometimes mantra sadhana as well. It's so interesting no matter where you go from. And I have spoken to few from different paths too. And it's so interesting that everybody's talking about the same thing. And but what I love about what you explained right now is that you integrated all of them and streamlined it so that it gives you um, a very dynamic effect. And that's very important.
Mhm.
Fantastic. I would love to join
Yeah.
your session someday and practice it with you. Thank you. So, um, any parting thoughts about mindful leadership before we close this session?
First, we should all thank you for taking this initiative. As I started by saying, this is the need of the hour. And through this, my humble request is let us not think leadership is only for organizations. It's also at home, within friends, in your own teams also. We have to become and make everyone leaders. Then people will start taking responsibility and everyone will start realizing they are unique and they can share their potential. And second is mindfulness should not just stop by sitting and doing meditation in a mat and coming out and being different. It should permeate like breath throughout the day.
Yes.
And for making that possible, another request is take up some process connected with tried and tested traditions and just do it. Like just do it and we will discover the benefit over a period of time. Why we decided this is it's like a multivitamin. No, today multivitamins are part of everybody's routine, right? People generally take it. So when you have now 27 minutes somebody is seated quiet, their body like asana, that steadiness they get, postural steadiness. When they do
Mm,
pranayama, their life force is enriched. Correct. And then when they do mind, then mindfulness increases by holding on to a mantra. Because many of us,
mm,
when we just practice mindfulness, the mind takes us without visa and ticket to all countries across the globe, to the past,
mm.
future. But
Yeah,
going along with it is okay, but what is the purpose of it? So for that, we anchor ourselves in that process. So kindly have a process which we can practice, whether it is
yes.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it is absolutely fine. Everything is going to change. So what is that unchangeable, non negotiable, what is in your control, which we can practice every day? So when we do that, mindfulness will become naturally part of every aspect of life.
Wonderful. Beautiful. And I totally agree.
Mm.
Join a time tested, and especially the yogic practices. It took years of practice for yogis to actually invent these or realize these practices. And they're just giving it to us just like that. I mean, if we were born 100 or 200 years back, we may have to serve the master 10 years and more to even learn one practice. And today we get to learn all of them just like that, and they're so freely available. Good times, I must say, when you think about this. Um, yeah, I personally believe too, and I've seen it with so many leaders that I have worked with, that when you have a practice like that, that is grounding you and that is connecting with who you truly are, the essence of your being, then leadership naturally comes forth. And because leadership is not something, I think everybody is a leader. It's just a matter of understanding and connecting with who you truly are, and then you'll actually begin to see that and treat others also in a similar way, because you can't be pouring from an empty cup. So I hope for those of you who've joined, um, you enjoy this conversation, and we'll be bringing more such conversations every Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. through Finding Calm in Chaos. And hopefully we'll bring Krishna back another time too, to learn more about Indic wisdom and how to bring those practices into our daily lives and elevate our work and the rest of the life. So thank you so much for being there today, Krishna. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll talk very soon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Sure.
much. Namaskar.
Namaskar.